Hello friends, my name is Behroz. I'm a finance executive by profession and welcome to my channel. In today's video, I will talk about how you can go about selling yourself in an interview, talking about your strengths, but in a way that it doesn't show as if you're bragging, rather it comes across as if you are humble. So I will explain all of that in this particular video. The reason I have come out on the subject is because I'm a career coach and specifically I coach people around interviewing. So in case you are interested in getting help with regards to interview on a one-to-one basis, you can also book a session with me using the link that I will leave in the description of this video. So in this particular video, I will be tackling two special things. One is when you're asked a question, tell me about your strengths or what are your strengths, how you can talk about your strengths, but in a humble way. I will keep that towards the end of this video. So make sure you stay tuned till the end of this video. And other than that, how can you overall come across in an interview as someone who's more professional and more humble? So number one tip here is to focus on facts as against just bragging about yourself. Bragging would be when you say, I am best in driving revenue growth. As against saying, I'm best at driving revenue growth, you need to say that I led a project where I was able to drive 15% revenue growth in a particular year for the organization or for the business. So talk about results, talk about facts as against just sharing opinions about yourself. Because when you share opinions about yourself, you come across as someone who's more pompous, who's bragging. But when you're sharing facts, they are factual. You're just talking about facts. You're not saying whether you did a great job or you did an average job. You are just simply sharing facts. Number two is to acknowledge team effort as well. Don't just come across as someone who keeps on saying I, but there should be instances where you should also talk something around we. Now, it doesn't mean that you say everything around we, and hence there should be a good balance. There should be moments when you talk what you did as an I, and then there should be moments as to how you contributed within the team and how the team supported you. So talk about the team effort, talk about how you contributed in the team, because I always say this, that people who are hiring you are not hiring you as an individual contributor. Now, even if you don't have people management, that is fine, but you will still be working with other people. They want to hire someone who can come, fit in the wall as a brick and contribute and make the entire wall stronger, as against someone who is an expert, who is the best person to hire, but is not a good fit for the company just because they cannot work well with the rest of the team. If that's the thing, even if that person is best in terms of what they do, an expert, but if they cannot work with other individuals, they are a failure for that particular organization and hence they won't get hired. So you have to talk about how you've been a team player. So talk about that. This way you will come across as someone who's more professional and also more humble, because you're not just talking about yourself as I, rather you also have a lot of we. Another thing that you can do to come across as someone who's humble and someone who's professional is talking about your growth journey, how you developed, how you grow, how you've improved yourself, how do you learn. This is where you tell them that you're not an expert, but you are someone who can learn, who can grow, who can develop. Because there will be instances in the organization as well where you will get hired, where they expect you to learn new things, to develop yourself, to grow yourself. You cannot come across as someone who says that I know everything already, I've grown already to the heights and I am the best individual. Rather you say I'm someone who's constantly learning, who's constantly developing and growing themselves in the process. Now this could come across by you, for instance, talking about how when you started leading the finance team, you realized the importance of communication and real-time communication. So instead of just writing an email, now you also had to talk to individuals, connect with them on real-time basis, so you can contribute or you can convey your particular message or your particular desires or vision to those individuals and not just rely on email writing. And hence this is kind of a learning you had when you started to manage teams. This is how you can come across as someone who has learned things as against someone who already knows everything. I also use this statement in interviews, and I recommend other people to do so as well, which is you can always say that I am not an individual who will have all the answers, but I would be someone who can get all the answers. I will never have all the answers, but what I will make sure is knowing who has the answer and always getting those answers which are required in order for me to complete the job. This way you come across as someone who's not an expert, but someone who can still get the job done because they will be able to get the answers from the experts. So this is a statement that you can also make use of during your interview, just to come across as someone who's more professional and humble. Last but not the least, emphasize on problem solving. Instead of saying how you're great at something, talk about how you made use of your strengths, your capabilities to solve a particular problem. Here, for instance, what you can say is, I was able to use my analytical skills to identify inefficiencies in the budget process, which helped save the company significant costs. So you're talking about how you made use of the skills that you have in order to solve a problem versus just talking about that you have those particular skills. So these were the 4 things as to how you can come across as someone who's more professional and humble. Now, there is a specific question that is typically asked in an interview, which is, what are your strengths? I've made a separate video on this particular question where I explain in detail how you can go about answering this particular question, what are the tips and hacks you can use, and some of the examples. But a question that I get often from the people I coach is that, how do I come across as someone who is humble? How do I talk about my strengths, yet also come across as professional and humble and not pompous and bragging? So here's the tip. And this is a very special tip, which is, instead of answering this question by saying my strengths are, answer it by saying my motivation and experience is in. So for instance, if they ask you, tell me about what your strengths are, or tell me about your strengths, you can simply say, with regards to that question, my motivation and my experience has been in creating strategy, in solving problems, and managing people. And when I say motivation and experience, these are typically areas where I tend to thrive and I tend to do well, just because this is where my heart is and this is where I have been performing in the past. So essentially, you are telling them your experience is in this particular area, your motivation in this particular area. If you have experience and motivation in particular area, that has to be your strength. So instead of coming across as saying my strength is to lead people or manage people, you say my motivation experience has been in managing people. So this is something I really enjoy, I really love. My passion is in managing people, and hence I thrive in a situation where I have to develop and coach people. So again, you're talking about your strengths, but in a professional and humble way. Thank you for watching this video. Hopefully after watching this video, you will be able to ace yourself as coming across humble and professional in an interview, and especially be able to ace the question, what are your strengths? Where you can talk about your strength, but in a humble and professional way. In case you found value from this video, I'm sure you'll find value from another video where I talk about what kind of questions you should ask in the interview when they say, tell me if you have any questions for us. What should be the questions you should be asking? Other than that, there is another video where I talk about how you can go about controlling your nerves in an interview. You can check it out here. Thank you.